whole number right there?
It matters what this number is. Yes, the n, the root. Good. Y'all got y'all. I knew y'all remember from last time. All right. We've got
Little number on 6.
on 6. What is the little number on 6?
It has to be even.
It has to be even. What is it? What are those? 2. Square root, right? Square root. You don't have to write it. Okay? Because there's no like 1th root. Okay? There's just a square root, which is 2. 1th root isn't something that exists, but it sounds funny to say. Okay? Okay, on these last 3, we're just going to simplify. Right? We're not going to use any specific rule. We just need to simplify. So let's do 8 is negative square root of 20. Yeah, you can't see that with your sunglasses on? You can't see the board? That's so weird. Oh, they're prescription sunglasses?
No.
No.
I just got them because I thought they were cool. I thought they were.
Okay.
You were wrong.
You know who wears sunglasses inside?
Steve Buscemi?
I was going to say Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder.
Oh my god.
What do you think they have in common? But kind of, I don't think. See.
Stop. No. Stop. No. Stop.
Oh well, I was thinking they were blind. I wasn't thinking of that unhealthy. Dang it. Who is a blind white person? Okay. All right, number 8. Number 8. What can you first? I would try it in the calculator. What do you get when you do it in the calculator? No.
Negative 4.4.
Ugly decimal, right? That's never the answer. Okay, I never want you to use an ugly decimal. So when you get an ugly decimal, you got to do this. All right. Anytime you get an ugly decimal, it doesn't work. Or there's a bigger number up underneath there that you can break it down. You need to break it down. Do the factors. So 20 is what times what? 10 times 2 or 4 times 5, but I already wrote down 10 times 2. Okay, then 10 is 5 times 2. And with this one, what is the root? 2, right? So we need how many of the same thing? 2. Right, I got 2 right there. That means this is left over. So what goes outside?
2.
2. What? Is there anything else that goes outside?
Oh,
Negative. Thank you. Negative 2. What goes inside? 5. Okay, and if you do that again, Kiana, you're the one that told me, right? If you do this. Yeah, pairs go outside if it's paired or whatever. And then leftovers go inside. Or if I do negative 2 radical 5. Same thing. Same ugly decimal. Okay, but that means that's correct. That's our answer. All right, we just have a couple more. This one is probably number 9, probably the most difficult one. Okay, so stick with me on this one. Okay, the square root of 34 divided by 3. Now, we can use the quotient property, letter G, from the top to break it down. And what I would want to do is divide 34 divided by 3. Okay, what do you get when you do 34 divided by 3? A decimal. Okay, same. We don't want that. So we're going to break it down using the quotient property, 34 square root of 3. Okay, now here is a rule about radicals. You cannot have a radical on the bottom of a fraction. Okay? It's not proper form. So when this happens, we have to fix it and make it go away. The way that we get rid of whatever's on the bottom of the fraction is multiply by that thing. Okay? So I'm going to have to multiply. I can't just multiply the bottom. I have to multiply both parts on this one because we're not solving. So I'm going to multiply both the top and bottom by this. Okay? Because if I multiply by radical 3 divided by radical 3, well, what's anything divided by itself? 1. Okay? And I'll show you. Radical 3 divided by radical 3 is 1. So if I multiply by this divided by this, it's still multiplying by 1. I'm not changing the fraction, I'm just changing the format. All right, so I can do 34 times 3, which gives me 102. And when I multiply a radical times itself, right, I'm squaring it, right? Okay, well, the opposite of a square root is a square. It gets rid of the square root. Okay, and it puts me with a whole number on the bottom of the fraction, which is appropriate. Okay, one of the rules of radicals is you cannot have a radical on the bottom. Okay, so and also you can't have a fraction underneath the radical. So even though this is the same thing, and you'll see, they're equal to the same thing, this one is in the correct format. Okay, the calculator doesn't worry about the format, but we do. Okay, you can't have a fraction underneath the radical. You also can't have a radical on the bottom. Okay, so you multiply by the top and the bottom by whatever's on the bottom. All right, we got one more. Number 10.